Oh, my mute isn't working. Okay, hopefully you guys can hear me okay. There's a little bit of wind going. But hi everyone, my name is Alexa. I am one of the director of operations for Exercises Medicine. And go ahead, Sylvia.
Hi everyone, my name is Sylvia and I am the other half of the director of operations for EIMOC.
How do you guys say it? EIMOC?
Yeah.
Okay, because sometimes I get tired of saying like exercise medicine. Okay, EIMOC, cool. Thank you guys for being here and for contributing all you have. We're gonna get started. So again, if you guys want to introduce the club and what you guys do.
Give me 1 second. Okay, my apologies, guys. My mute button is like all over the place right now. So just to give you guys a little bit of background on what Exercises Medicine on campus is as a club, as an organization. Exercises Medicine is actually a really big organization that spans across multiple college campuses across the United States. And so we are just one of the many that exist here at Cal State Long Beach. So there is an overall mission statement that we have, and the goal is to build a bridge between the gap of healthcare providers and students in terms of promoting physical activity as a vital sign of health. And our goal is to provide the community with valid and up-to-date information regarding the health benefits of regular physical activity. And those are the 2 points that our club and our sector of Exercises Medicine likes to focus on, is finding ways to promote physical activity, getting people excited about it, and as well as giving them materials or advice on how to start their own physical activity journeys, exercise journeys, because it can be really difficult at first. So that's just how we function here at Exercises Medicine on the beach.
Thank you, Alexa. Do you want to add anything, Sylvia, or did she pretty much cover it?
Pretty much covered everything. I think as an organization, we try to broaden our events as much as possible to fit like the general population. Most of us are kinesiology majors. We are in the health related aspect of the field, but we try to broaden it to bring information to other members of school so that they themselves can get information on exercise and how exercise is medicine, literally our name, but not just exercise, but nutrition and other forms of exercise like mental health and meditation, all these different areas that are super important for us as humans. So yeah, we just kind of just try to bridge some of these gaps and bring them to like the general population on campus to hopefully make an impact on somebody.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much for telling us about your club. And I love how you guys kind of cater to everyone, not just like one specific level or community or population. So yeah, thank you guys. Okay, next we're going to be talking about some definitions in terms of exercise.
So this section was kind of just like, I named it different perspectives because we kind of use these words interchangeably, and it's really just like, I guess like being kinesiology major, we use these words like very fluently, like, oh, you're moving today. Oh, are you exercising, or are you in physical activity? So it can be a little bit confusing, but I think overall they kind of just they're defined as like this overarching aspect of health is the way that I see it. And it's just different perspectives on what fits a specific person, right? So a lot of people might just see movement as, I'm going to move my body as I'm going to get up from studying all day and I'm going to go ahead and take a walk. So for that, it might just be like, this movement is for me and I'm kind of just expending some form of energy, but it's not to an extreme end, right? Kind of just moving, getting your body moving, whether you break a sweat or not. And exercise kind of fits with like physical activity in the sense where both of them kind of tie this aspect of movement, right, and energy expenditure. So you're expending some form of energy, but what I really liked about like the exercise definition was this aspect of like overall health and wellness, which I think really ties in with not only what we do, but a lot of other clubs on campus or organizations, in the sense where not only are we trying to be physically healthy, but like you can also exercise your mind, right? So this overarching idea. Mobility, I think for me is kind of just like the more, it is included within like exercise, movement, and physical activity, but it's this idea of more so like, am I mobile as a person? Like, am I able to walk around functionally? Am I able to move around functionally, right? So whether that just be like, am I able to pick up a box from the floor? Like, am I able to fully squat without feeling any pain in my joints, right? Am I able to go through that full range of motion? Am I not limited? So I think overall, all of these kind of just like fit into everybody's life differently. So for myself, it's like I exercise, I train because I am an athlete. But for somebody else, it might just be like, I'm going to engage in some form of physical activity, whether that be I'm going to go for a walk, or I'm just going to walk at the beach, or I'm going to walk my dogs, or I'm just going to get up and stretch. You're expending some form of energy, but you're just overall just moving your body. So I kind of just wanted to define these as like, or have y'all look at these as like different perspectives, because it does fit each person individually and to each individual's life. So those were kind of just like the definitions that I found, and like my perspective on what each one meant to me. And so for suggestions for exercise, so I am a certified personal trainer, so I kind of went off of like my own personal knowledge, and I kind of just used like just some basic examples of lower body or upper body examples for like beginners, moderate, advanced levels. So beginners, it's kind of just like breaking down the movement, right? And I wrote down at the bottom a key aspect of exercise for each level is kind of just like break down the movement. What is your body able to do at that specific point, right? If you're a beginner, break down the movement. So you might not be able to go through a full range of motion of a squat. Go ahead and do a box squat without any weight, right? Just a body weight squat would be super helpful, because at least you're going through the motions. You might feel super confident over a few weeks of time. So you might take away the box, add a dumbbell at the front of your body to kind of just be able to get that movement of having weights, and now being able to go a little bit further of a range of motion. The advanced level would be a barbell front squat. So you're going from having a dumbbell in the front of your body to having a barbell in the front of your body, which is obviously a lot harder at the advanced level, but you're kind of progressing over time. And then once you're at the advanced level, I have also another key is progressive overload, right? So once you're advanced, you're able to push your body a little bit more based on the weight that you're pushing. So you might add 5 pounds 1 week, you might go up another 5 pounds next week. So it's kind of just like what fits your body. And another key is adjust specifically to your body. Not everybody will progress at the same speed, depending on everybody's anatomy or energy availability, right? So for upper body, another thing would be a standard banded chest press, right? So you could get a band, tie it around a pole and do some chest press with the band. You're still getting the motion, but you're kind of working up to your advanced level. Add some dumbbells, go ahead and use a flat bench. Now you're getting that motion of being flat on the bench and using that excess weight to hopefully get you to do a barbell bench press. So again, I think the key here is you can take any movement and break it down to specifically fit you. And over time, you're able to progressive overload and add some more weight at adjusting to your own body and how you feel at that given time. So your progression is completely up to you and whatever feels comfortable to you for any given exercise.
Alana, do you want to jump in here?
Oh yeah, sorry, my internet's acting up. So can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So body image and mental health. We know that body image is something we've been struggling especially during the pandemic, especially in this country and well, other countries around the world. I know for sure that I can talk about Brazil, but it's something really, really serious, and it's getting more and more related to issues like anxiety. And we know how exercise, for example, is one thing that can help with body image, not only because of the image that you have, but because of your mental illnesses and mental health itself, because exercise is really linked to that. So they can be a risk factor for mental health problems such as like psychological distress, healthy and eating disorders. So it's really important to take a look at that and always ask for help if you feel like you need it. Sorry, my internet's acting up. I just saw the next slide. So body positivity and effects on mental health and well-being. So we know that we deserve to feel good about our bodies, even though we're pressured every day by society to look a certain way and to act a certain way. So things that can help you practice body positivity are related to like acceptance, awareness, and exercise, not only physical activity, but also mental activity. And well, these are some of the effects on mental health and well-being, like improved self-care, self-worth, and strengthening coping mechanism. So that's pretty much it.
So we wanted to highlight also some of the benefits that can occur from physical activity in terms of your mental health. So first off, it has to do with your brain activity, like the actual biology of it. Your serotonin, endorphins, and stress hormones change. And your serotonin levels are your mood levels. So your mood is boosted and you feel more energized. Your endorphin levels are the ones that relieve pain and can relieve things like anxiety. So when you exercise, you feel more of that relief. And then ultimately your stress hormones decrease also because you're getting out that energy, right? I've always heard that, anxiety is built up energy in your body, and the way we exert it is through physical movement and like sweating and breathing heavily. So things like that can change some of your hormones. It also allows you to have better sleep because when you move around, your muscles tend to get more tired, right? So you tend to sleep better, sleep more deeply, and you're able to rest more easily. Exercise can also be a good way to cope in a healthy way instead of doing it in a way that's not as healthy for you. So like a lot of people say, like the gym is their therapy, right? Which is true because it has all these great benefits. And it could also boost your self-esteem because when you reach that goal, like the next one says, you get to create new goals. And when you reach that goal, it ultimately makes you feel like you accomplished something, makes you feel that you're working towards something. And when you do, you get to reward yourself and you feel a lot better. It could also be a distraction from negative thoughts. Sometimes we can overthink or we have all these negative thoughts that just run through our heads. But if we exercise, we can focus on that and push it towards a more positive and beneficial part of our life. It can also be an opportunity for you to socialize, like if you want to take a class or something, or you want to go to the gym or take a walk with one of your friends or family members. It gives you an opportunity to kind of connect more on a common goal. But on the other hand, it could also be like just your alone time, time for you to like get away from everyone if you don't necessarily like to work out or move or exercise with a lot of people. I know that's how I am. I like to be more focused on myself when I like go to the gym and things like that, to kind of tune out the world. So that can be another thing. You don't have to socialize. like I said earlier, your energy levels ultimately boost up. I know for me, it kind of sounded redundant or kind of redundant if like I went to the gym or like I ran a mile. It's like I'm tired, right? Why would I be energized? But ultimately at the end, when you start working towards it and you get used to it, you feel energized and more motivated through the day. And again, your body, because your body can be, you know, tense sometimes, like while we're sitting in our chairs and like in class all day. Like Sylvia was saying, if you just want to get up and move, stretch, take a little walk after you've been sitting, you can reduce some tension, stretch out your muscles, and you'll feel a lot better.
So here are some statistics on how exercise affects mental health. So first of all, those who exercise experience fewer days of poor mental health a month, is averaged around 1.5 fewer poor mental health days. So there's a 20% lower risk of depression and dementia for adults who exercise daily. While dementia might not be a concern for many of you right now, it will be in the future. So starting early when you're 20 definitely makes a huge difference later in life. There's 60% higher odds of developing anxiety if you do not exercise. Again, like Sophie was saying, it reduces tension, it fixes sleep. All those things contribute to anxiety. So making sure that you're exercising can really reduce symptoms that can cause anxiety. Despite all of these benefits on mental health, only 65% of men and 54% of women meet the recommended 30 minutes of exercise for 5 days a week.
Yeah, so kind of touching on to what Sophie mentioned a little bit earlier, particularly about the stress hormones. Obviously, it's one thing for us to sit here and say that exercise can be beneficial, it can boost your mood, it can do this and that. But for some people, it's really nice to have solid fact behind that. So that's where research kind of steps in, right? So kind of funnily enough, we kind of mashed up on this. So I do have some information regarding cortisol, which is our body's stress hormone. But not only is it our stress hormone, it does a lot more for us. It controls our blood sugar levels, metabolism, helping with inflammation and whatnot. So it's an important hormone to have. But like many things, everything in moderation. Obviously, when we have too much stress, we get certain feelings, certain moods, and that's not always beneficial for us. So this particular research article posed the question of if physical exercise can modulate cortisol levels in people with depression, particularly major depressive disorder. So their main claim at the beginning was that physical exercise training has been used as a tool to promote changes in cortisol levels in healthy individuals. However, it was unknown if exercise can do those same results in people with MDD. Looking at a bunch of different research articles who have already done this and putting all those conclusions together, they come to the conclusion that physical exercise can promote a reduction in cortisol levels. However, it's influenced by things by your type of exercise, your frequency, and the type of cortisol measurement that you're taking. And one thing to point out with exercise too, it's such a trial and error thing. So what you want to do exactly, what kind of exercise you want to do, it's so important to find something that you enjoy and something that works for you. Just because your friend runs 5 miles every morning doesn't mean you're going to like running 5 miles every morning, even though it might give you great benefits. So it's really important to find, well, how often can I do it, being realistic about it, as well as finding an activity that actually works for you. And no matter what, you're going to get some benefit out of it. Kind of like how this article found out. And then overall, most research is actually done on aerobic training programs. So that's stuff like your running, your cycling, basically non-strength training programs. However, strength training programs also have their own individual benefits onto mental health as well as overall fitness as well. So this was another article that was done, literally just titled Exercise and Mental Health, that took a bunch of articles that were already done on the topic, again, compiled them together, did a meta-analysis, and came up with a few conclusions saying that exercise can bring about many physiological changes, which result in an improvement in mood state, self-esteem, and lower stress and anxiety levels. And while the psychological effects may include a distraction from feelings, kind of like how Sophie mentioned, of depression and anxiety, and a positive feeling associated with mastery and self-efficacy. And kind of tying back to when we were talking a little bit about body image is something that I think when we talk about is often referred to as how you physically look at yourself in the mirror and how you interpret yourself in the mirror. But I think one of the great things about exercise, physical activity, whatever you want to call it, is that your body image not only changes in that way, but now you kind of look at yourself as you're getting stronger or you feel better. And I think that's another aspect of body image that can be really important. Maybe it's more severe in some people, maybe they look at it that way, or maybe they look at it as a physical way, but nonetheless, those are some other benefits that you can get from doing exercise. And like I mentioned, most of this data is taken from aerobic training programs, but both aerobic, non-aerobic, strength training, running, cycling, all those things will have their individual benefits on mental health overall.
So these are just some of the points that I kind of wrote down for incorporating physical activity in your life. These are kind of just like little tips and tricks that you can do on a daily basis to kind of just get some motion in. So one of the things that I think is really cool is getting a standing desk. Now with COVID and with everybody kind of just being at home, I feel the difference when I'm sitting all day long. My body hurts, my back hurts, my hips hurt. And when I stand up, it's painful. So one of the things that I did was getting a standing desk, which was really cool because I was starting to get actual physical pain from sitting down for long periods of time. So one of the things that my physical therapist told me was like being able to stand up for even like an hour is really important, because now you're kind of standing up, stretching out your muscles, and you're not shortening those muscles that should be being physical on a daily basis. So simply just standing up, even if it's like for like 10 minutes, do some high knees, like motions when you are standing up and doing work is really, really helpful. Doesn't have to be when you're in lecture or anything like that, but if you're simply just reading or doing something that doesn't require a lot of excess stuff like taking notes, stand up and do your work that way. Another thing is take breaks. So that can be go on a walk while you're taking a break, walk your dog, walk around the block. You could go to the beach, take a walk. So any little form of physical activity can be really, really nice, even if it's just like for 5 minutes. Another thing is take the stairs. I love an elevator, especially because I carry a lot of stuff at school, but take the stairs. You can definitely feel your heart rate increase. I know for myself, I am not aerobically trained whatsoever. So I will take 2 steps and I'm like sweating, but it's really good. And it kind of just makes me feel good afterwards because I get like a little boost of energy and accomplishment and taking the stairs. So even just doing that is like really awesome. Even if it's just like 1 flight of stairs, take the stairs, don't take the elevator. Another thing that's really important is just stretch, do some yoga in the morning when you wake up. So a great way to just start your day, moving, getting that morning movement in, or at any time of the day, or you can be sitting down in your chair or standing up and doing some basic just stretches for your neck, because we are constantly hunched over writing and taking notes. Those muscles do get really tight. So stretching those muscles can be really important. And I think the most important thing is setting a reminder, schedule it in, put it as an appointment for yourself as me time. Scheduling in that time can just remind you and like, oh, I need to move. Set an alarm on your phone, go on a walk for 10 minutes during this time, whether it be for lunchtime or dinner time. It can really help you get it done. And another thing is just like remind yourself that this is your time to move your body instead of making it like a demanding thing for yourself, because it can kind of take away from the essence of moving and getting that time in. So those are kind of just like a little tips and tricks to get a little bit more physical activity on a daily basis.
Yeah, so just briefly, some resources for both exercise and mental health. I'm sure CAPS is a resource that Active Minds has talked about quite a bit. Under CAPS exists many other programs that kind of target both exercise and mental health, including Beach Buddies. One of our old board members was actually a Beach Buddy peer mentor. So their goal is essentially to being a part of Beach Buddies gives you a peer mentor that gives you a way to cope with the stresses of college, allowing you to find outside resources for these issues as well. Another program under CAPS is Beach Balance, which I was just recently introduced to. And Beach Balance kind of combines the best of both worlds. So not only are they encouraging people to make healthy lifestyle choices, but they have a lot of individual programs and classes about nutrition, stress management, and overall health education. And Beach Balance is located within the Student Rec Center here at school. So if you come to campus, maybe that's something you want to check out. And of course, I have to mention exercise is medicine as a way to get into that. Like we mentioned earlier, our goal is to promote physical activity for people for the reasons that we've discussed already. And so our goal and our hope is to create an environment where people of any level of fitness, whether you're doing 10 minutes of walking every day, that's fine, that's great, that's amazing. We want to create that kind of environment where people feel welcome to share their progress or share what kind of morning movement that they're doing. So next week we're starting our daily 30 minutes challenge, which we talked about earlier, how very few people meet those 30 minutes of daily activity daily. So we're starting that 30-minute challenge next week. So exercise medicine is a great way to just get an introductory on how to begin physical activity or begin exercise overall.
Some other resources that are on campus. I know Alexa touched on Beach Buddies. There's also Project Ocean. Their Instagram is really great to follow because they'll have like really cute slides on like self-care, mindfulness. So they're really fun. There's also the CSULB Student Health Center, so you can check them out. There's their information, Murphy Access Center for Disabilities, CSULB University Police for non-emergencies, of course. And then one that my professor recently highlighted is the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. I recommend, or she recommended putting it on your phone because you never know who's struggling, and offering that access to someone could like save their life. Yeah.
Okay, everyone. So thank you all for attending this meeting. So it's time for questions. We're going to do a Q&A session. So feel free to ask us anything or to share what you think it's important. So yeah, I'm going to try to start my video and I hope my internet does not. Yeah, so it's time for Q&A session. Does anyone have any questions?
I have a question I just came up with for Alexa or Sylvia. So I know I struggle with this. Like when you go to the gym, which is my personal preference of like exercise, I like to go to a physical place to like actually do. So when you first go to the gym, I know it was super scary for me because you just see all these people lifting like 500 pounds and running on the track. You know, that's what you notice when you're like anxious about going to the gym or, you know, any place where there's people training. What are some tips you guys have to like kind of help that anxiety when first going to a physical place where people are exercising and you don't have a lot of experience or you're like kind of a beginner, things like that?
Do you want me to go, Alexa? I think I completely feel you. I was exactly the same when I first started exercising. One, I'm like pretty shy. So just going to a new place was really daunting for me. So it kind of just made it like harder for me to want to go. I think one of the things that really helped me was like reminding myself why I'm there in the first place. And for me, it was like, I want to be stronger for myself. And at the end of the day, nobody's looking at me. Like everybody is minding their business and everybody is doing their thing. I know commercial gyms can get filled super fast, which is why I don't personally like commercial gyms, but I think one suggestion might be is if you can find a corner for yourself, take equipment, dumbbells or jump rope or whatever it is that you're using for your workout and have that little space for yourself. Can be something that's like really helpful. If you are using machines or anything like that, put on headphones, listen to your music that you love or that gets you hyped up, I think that's the one thing is like, I listen to my music super, super loud to a point where I cannot, like, I will not hear anybody at all if they come and talk to me. So that's another thing is like, music is really important. And just like your mindset going in there. At the end of the day, like, this is your time to get better and feel better and distract yourself. So if you're going in there with the mindset of like, people are looking at me, what if I do something wrong? Like, sometimes we all just don't know what we're doing. So I think just going in there and just being like, look, I'm just going to enjoy my workout. If I do something wrong, it is what it is. So I think just you learn along the way. And being a personal trainer, I think it was, for me, it was like just that little boost of like confidence, like somebody else is telling me or explaining to me how to do things, and it's really nice. I know as college students that can be a little bit tough, but even just asking like one of the workers, like, hey, can you show me where things are? Like, can you just give me a tour of the gym? So that you know, oh, here's where these machines are. Now I feel comfortable like going around, walking around, and I don't have to like ask any like other random people. So honestly, try to make it like your own space and your own environment and what you like to do, whether that be just like creating your own little space with your dumbbells or knowing where things are, listening to music, and just going in with the mindset that it's like your time and your time to feel good about yourself. And I think those are kind of just like the things that have worked for me over like the past few years of going to the gym.
Yeah, it's just to tag along a little bit. I was also thinking of and going to say the whole little keeping to your little corner kind of thing. And I think especially now on social media, you'll see these things tags as like, oh, shy girl workouts, where you literally have everything in front of you and you don't need to walk all over the gym. So that takes away a little bit from it. I know for myself personally, before I even stepped into a gym, I started working out at home. And I think that time for me was more learning form, if I'm doing things right. That way, when I do go into a gym, I do have some sort of an idea what I'm doing. Like Sylvia said, half of the time I still don't know what I'm doing, and I don't know if I'm doing it correctly. But at least there was some sort of a prep period. And so one thing I think that I had to learn myself, because I was one of those people that would go in and be like, oh God, what if this like buff guy over here benching 500 looks at me benching 45 and is like, what is she doing? For me, it was just learning everyone in a gym, commercial gym, any kind of gym is there for themselves, and they're there to work on themselves. Are they going to glance around and look? Sure, that's probably them zoning out while they're in mid-set rest. But I think, like Sylvia said, it's so important to just realize your why. Why are you going there? And then to just focus on that. Like I said, everyone is there for themselves. That is your time to work on yourself, have conversations with yourself, teach yourself, and learn some new things while you're there too. So I think Sylvia sums it up pretty well.
Thank you. Those are great tips. I know I recently found what I like at the gym, so that's also helpful. Like, it's a lot of trial and error, like you guys were saying earlier. Seeing what you like, because if you find something you like, you'll look forward to going, and that'll be distracting from you thinking about all the negative stuff that unmotivates you from going. Yeah, so that was my question. Thank you guys. Does anyone have any other questions? No.
I actually have a question.
Okay.
I know people with disabilities, I have some members of my family with disabilities who kind of struggle to find their place in exercise because they don't know what they're supposed to be doing. Do you have any resources or like tips on how to find exercises that work for you with disabilities?
Yeah, so I can go ahead and answer first. One thing I think that's important to know, it was something that I was thinking about just yesterday, is that any type of exercise, especially if you're someone who doesn't exercise already, if you're already pretty sedentary, any kind of exercise you do is going to give you some sort of benefit. Because at that very beginning stage, you're I don't want to say undeveloped, but you know, it's your first time doing such a thing. So the improvements that you make are going to be exponential. So the littlest things can make the biggest of difference. As far as resources go, I don't know any in particular, but I would say that out there for a lot of exercises that utilize dumbbells or barbells, things that maybe people with disabilities can't really do too well or maybe don't have access to, can be done with smaller objects, like a little band, like really light weights. You can take a little 3-pound weight and still do a lot of something and still get a really good benefit out of it. So, and I think that's another thing with exercise that I think people are really geared to think that everything needs to be done with a super heavy weight, or that you need to be going super ham and sweating all the time, which isn't true. I think you can still get those benefits and still do things that are comfortable to your body, kind of like how Sylvia talked about earlier, adjusting things to your body and what you can do, and you're still going to see a benefit no matter what.
Yeah, I think in addition to that, I think like my only resource would be, and I know it can be costly, but even just seeing like a physical therapist or an occupational therapist or a personal trainer, right, that specializes with individuals with disabilities. So having that extra little help could be really important. I did work with a woman who had multiple sclerosis. And that was probably one of like the hardest things that I had to do, because I had to like research what specifically worked for her, and not everything worked, right? So it's going to be very individual for the person. So weights were very low. Exercises were fairly easy, but as the weeks progressed, she would be like, look, Sylvia, I'm getting stronger. And she'd be super excited. So I think it literally is just like, if you can afford it, or like health insurance can cover it, I think getting that like extra little push of additional knowledge is super important. Like Alexa said, any form of exercise is beneficial than none. We're starting to see more and more that even if you have a disability, right, any form of exercise can reap additional health benefits, right, whether that be like reducing diabetes or high blood pressure, even just walking like 10 minutes a day is really, really important, or can decrease some overall like all-cause mortality, right, by a little bit. So even just getting that slight movement can be really important. As for resources, additional resources, not like specifically, but maybe those little things might help, or might be helpful for individuals with disabilities to get that movement in on a daily basis.
Thank you again. Does anyone else have other questions? Comments? No? Okay. Well, if not, then that is the end of our meeting. Thank you everyone for coming, and I hope you guys can take these tips, apply them to yourself, share them with some friends, to kind of motivate them to, you know, take care of themselves and their bodies and move around. The Ability Expo might be one as like a resource. That's what Pearl just said for, I'm guessing, disability. Okay, thank you, Pearl. So if you guys want to look into that for resources for disabilities. But yeah, if you guys have any other questions that you come up with later, DM either of us. If if EIMOC wants to put their Instagram or anything in the chat, so people can contact you guys, that'd be great. But yeah, thank you guys for coming. We'll see you next week, hopefully, and have a great weekend, everyone.
So thank you guys for inviting us as well. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you guys. Bye.